on over the hallowed ground between the hedges, and you know the dogs are ready to bite. Welcome Between the Hedges to Athens, Georgia and Sanford Stadium, home of the Georgia Bulldogs. As we'll see a squad from the ACC, the Florida State Seminoles, taking on a team from the SEC, the Georgia Bulldogs. For EA Sports College Football, Reese Davis with you alongside David Pollack and Jesse Palmer. Time to get this game started. Seminoles have been waiting and finally the moment is coming and the opening of the season. He'll start the return inside his 5. Couldn't find a way to create that broken field as he stopped at the 25. The give to the back. And this one will be stopped for no gain. Let's take a little step back and have a look at Georgia. The good news about starting the season outside the top 25, not a lot of lofty expectations. You can sneak up on a few teams, but sooner or later, you're going to want to get that attention and get into those rankings.
A lot more, but it's not impossible. In recent years, you saw it with Indiana coming out of absolutely nowhere. You saw it back in the day with USF. You've seen it with Rutgers. Like, in the past, you can do it. You can put it together, gain some momentum, but it starts with this game right here.
TCU reached the national championship game a few years back, and no one expected much of them that season either, so you never know. What's important is what people believe inside your own locker room. This team thinks they can do some really special things this year, and they get a chance to start strong here in week 1.
The Dogs come to the ball trying to pick up this 3rd and short. Wants to throw. It's Nolan. The quick out. At the 45 on his way. Ripping off a huge chunk of yardage, and he's got it just outside the 10 at the 11.
Well, we know this guy is special, and because of that, his quarterback is looking to him on critical down and distances. There on that 3rd down, there was no question. It wouldn't have mattered if he was single covered, double covered, man, zone. That's where he was going with it, and the big-time playmaker outside picks up the 1st.
Defense is about firing off, hitting the offensive guys and staying in your gaps, everybody knowing where they're supposed to be. You could tell the defense, everyone was right where they're supposed to be, nowhere to run.
Going to work on 2nd down, and the red zone is still some ground to cover to pick up that 1st down. Running back searching for a hole. That is a big win for this defense as they were right there as soon as he got the ball. Guys, let's chat about Georgia. The portal can work wonders if you have specific holes to fill. Breathe a little new life and energy into the program. David, these guys went in there, got a nice little haul that really could set them up for success this season.
They did, and they didn't go bonkers and go crazy, Jesse. I like how they just saw a couple guys that they thought fit their system, fit their culture, and now they're bringing them in so they can rise the tide of this team.
Yeah, this feels like a curated roster, right? They only had a few holes that they had to fill up, but they went out, they put their effort into finding the right guy. They feel like they've upgraded their roster with just a few portal additions.
And boy, is he close to that 1st down, maybe just a couple of inches short.
And I think that completion is as good as a 1st down, right? Because you've set yourself up now in 4th and inches. Quarterback sneak's going to get it done. You can keep this drive alive.
This offense wants to establish an aggressive identity. They'll go for it on 4th down. Trying to keep the drive alive. Into the end zone he goes. Touchdown, Bulldogs! They strike first, and that opening drive of the season could not have gone better.
What a luxury for an offense to have. The ability to set the tone on the ground, giving that guy the football time after time, making offense easy, being physical, and really setting the tone for this football game.
Setting up for the extra point after the first score of the game. And the extra point makes it 7-0. They put together a 74-yard touchdown drive, and they capped it off with a 1-yard plunge. They're ready to kick it away, and this crowd is buzzing after that last score. He'll bring it back from inside his 5. He was looking for more running room, but none to be found as he stopped at the 23. This place is roaring, and it's going to be so hard to operate under these conditions. The inside handoff. Breaks into the open. Continues to fight for yards. They finally wrestle down the senior, but not before he picks up some valuable ground.
It's just not easy to bring this guy down, is it? He is so dangerous once he gets the ball in his hands, and it makes me think back to old great Seminole running backs like Warwick Dunn, Travis Minor, a guy that I used to play against. How about Dalvin Cook even? Just guys that could make the first guy miss, and then they were able to just explode and burst and take it the distance. This guy right here, he is a unique talent.
One big play, and now they've got it at the 42-yard line on first down. Going to try to get it himself. A really nice run and gain, and he gets down to avoid taking punishment. The Seminoles racing to the line in the hurry-up.
He does a really good job with that mesh point. The mesh point is when he sticks it in the running back's belly. When he pulls it, he gets downhill quick to chew up some quick yards. Nice play early in this football game.
They'll immediately call timeout. This crowd bringing the energy and noise early. The give to the back. And the defense makes the stop after a minimal gain.
And the defense doing a great job committing to the run. When you commit to the run like this, obviously you can give up some plays in the passing game, but you got to stop the run first.
Picked up 2 yards on that last one. They need 8 on second down. The give from the gun. Hard running there. Really good job by everybody there. Well blocked, good run, and a first down.
Wow. 4 plays on this drive by the offense. They already got 3 first downs. We knew they had a lot of playmakers coming into this game, and they're showing that right now. This defense is going to have to make a play at some point here and stop the bleeding.
And the Seminoles come to the line with a new set of downs. Dropping back, it's Berry. Makes the grab. They make the stop, but this passing game does some damage, and they move the sticks with the first down.
Yeah, when you run those drag routes, it just takes a little bit of know-how. And when I say that, the receivers got to understand, find space. My quarterback's going to find me. He's looking for that space at the same time. Nice throw, nice catch. Way to get the first down.
Caught in the backfield. It's Wagner. Touchdown, Seminoles! A great catch and run for 6. Looking for the tie with the extra point.
Well, this offense needed a touchdown. No doubt that was the guy that QB was going to be looking for on that play.
And he did make that extra point, no issue with the treacherous footing. The kickoff unit is out there, and boy, did that last drive quiet this crowd. On the move from inside his 5. He was hoping for something a little more dynamic, but they get him on the ground at the 20. We're ready to get another look at this Bulldog offense. That last touchdown drive was surgical through the air, Jesse.
It sure was, and that's why this offense is so...
He's going for it all. It's picked off, and they ruin the drive with a turnover. He's knocked down, but what a play to come up with the interception.
Rain, sleet, snow, sun shining. I don't care. I get interceptions. Give me that rock.
Off the play fake on first down, wants to throw. He tosses one high and deep down the left side. Oh, he dropped it. That deep ball was right on the money. You just have to make that catch.
And the offense clearly saying, we want to take those deep shots. We want to be aggressive. And I think that's a good strategy because it makes the defense really honor what you're going to do. And just missed a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if this offense finds a way to come back to some of those deep things.
And there was nowhere to go, just stopped in his tracks in the backfield.
And, man, it's nice to have a guy that is just better than your guys. And no matter what play you call, man, how about him getting in the backfield quick, penetrating, using his quickness, and using his strength to get him to the ground? That is a ball.
Quickly out to the tight end. Tackle was made right at the 22-yard line. That's not enough for the first down. The Seminoles decide to punt it away. They'll boot it into the night sky for the first time. A low line drive and short kick. Coverage team down there to down the punt, and they'll spot it just inside the 45. First snap of this drive comes from their own 44. Looking to pass. It's Nolan. Unloads to the right. It's caught downfield. He'll go out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Big pickup there, and this offense is feeling it. Dogs pick up the first down through the air, and the Georgia faithful starting to howl and bark.
And we've seen that in the past with Georgia. Maybe you get a little bit conservative, a little bit too much reliant on great defense, run the football. The reason that they broke through, the reason they started winning championships in the recent era, they became more aggressive, more dynamic throwing the football down the field. The big tight end tries to make a catch, and you could tell he extends for the ball, but great job by the defender getting in there, making the hit, dislodging the football out at the same time as he's going to catch it, and the big tight end couldn't hold on to it.
Couldn't connect on first down, now back to the air. Working the middle.
Some crossing routes are designed to beat man coverage. That one worked out pretty well in zone. Nice job by the QB and receiver being on the same page, finding a soft spot, and getting the completion.
As they get set to snap it, time winding down here in the quarter. They'll ride Davis here. And after the tackle, we are headed to the end of the first quarter. Entertaining first quarter, and we are all locked up after one as we take a quick look at some stats. They fought to a standstill in the first. Let's see who gets the edge early in the second. It'll be second down, and remember, they can pick up a first without scoring. They go to the ground. He's tackled right at the 10-yard line, and they're trying to cash in on this drive. Really need to pick up this conversion and avoid having to settle for the field goal. Back in motion, try to clear the picture. Looking for a man. It's Nolan. Oh, they're after him. He'll throw it. And that third down pass had some serious juice, but they couldn't hook up.
Man, they just couldn't find a hole. Down in the red zone, the field shrinks. So much harder to complete those passes, but 4th and short. Now, decision time, baby.
Absolutely perfect. And guys, after the field goal, now they have the lead. So after putting 3 on the board, the kickoff team is out there ready to boot it away. And he takes this from inside the 5. Not a lot of space to be found. Good hustle by the coverage team, and they stop him at the 21. Guys, here comes that Florida State offense back onto the field. They'll open this drive, hoping to move it down the field. A touchdown would give them the lead. Stacked up after gaining a couple to the 23. Guys, let's look big picture at Florida State. One of the big storylines coming into this year was the rising temperature of the coach's seat. And the process of cooling things off starts now.
All offseason, this coach has said the right things. I'm not worried about it. I'm not focused on it. I'm just worried about our team. But, David, let's be real. He's got to win games. There is an expectation at this program to win. And if he doesn't start fast this year, that hot seat's only going to get hot.
No, and then the chirping starts, and everybody's going to be talking about his job. The pressure builds, and then what happens? Sometimes you lose the locker room, so important to get off to a good start. Try to quiet some of those haters and some of those doubters.
From the shotgun, the inside give. Not much running room there thanks to this senior defender.
And those body blows really, really matter. Like, I want to be able to hand the ball off to my running back 10, 15 times a game. Make the defense tackle them, wear them out. Sometimes these 3 to 4 yard runs, later in football games, they turn into 5 to 15 to 20 yard games just because of the body blow effect.
He's brought down, but it'll be enough for a first down. And the Seminoles look to keep this drive humming. Use the play fake, now to throw. Quickly to the tight end. He's stopped just a chain link or 2 away from the first down and sets them up beautifully here. And a really nice setup here to take a shot if they want. 3 receivers to the right. Grabbed behind the line, it's Gibson. They make the stop, but he'll have enough yardage for a first down. And the Noles come to the line with a fresh set of downs. Wide receiver comes in motion. Back to pass, it's Sperry. And this will be incomplete. A big hit there forces second down.
Not many receivers like to get hit. They just don't, okay? They're prima donnas. That's what they are. That's who they are. Nice job by the defender. You could tell he was catching the football. He was going to put a hit on him to make sure he had to think about something later, and you could see the ball pop out and fall to the ground.
They'll leave it with him. And he was able to run through 1 tackle, but still only a modest gain.
And, man, the big fellas up front, they don't get a lot of credit. They don't get talked about a lot unless it's negative, but they're the big component, man. They've got to get some push, to get some running lanes, get this running game going. They're the ones that make it go.
On 3rd and long, try to convert through the air. Fires it beautifully in on the crosser.
Yeah, and I love running my tight ends across the formation, just big targets that I can find a way to get the football to. Nice snag, nice little positive game for my offense.
From the 30-yard line on first down. He makes the catch close to the sticks, but he'll be a little short of the first down.
Nice job there. Good timing between the QB and the wide receiver executing that out route.
Play number 10 on this series. Corners showing press. They want to be physical here. Looking to fire. dogs are barking and growling and trying to hold him here on third down. He's looking downfield to throw. And they'll miss the connection here on third down.
Really nice third down sub-defense there that time. It's third and long. They're expecting pass, and they're mixing up their looks. They're trying to change the picture pre-snap to post-snap to confuse the quarterback, now forcing the incompletion, setting up fourth.
And the try is no good. And after the miss, they're still down by a field goal.
And sometimes I just feel like fourth down, man, just go for it every time. Like the field goal, miss, make, rate. And listen, kickers have improved the last couple of years, but you left some points off the scoreboard there.
Let's take a little step back and have a look at Georgia. At some point, with all of the transfer portal talk and guys going in and out, you can score one for continuity with this ball club, can't you, David?
That means your system and your culture is working. And because these guys so often are just going for the next opportunity, the next bag of money. Nice job. They kept their guys that they recruited, that they love.
Yeah, it sounds so cliche, but these players really have bought in to this coaching staff and the message and what they're preaching. They all believe they could do something very special this season.
The Bulldogs come to the line needing just inches for the first down. To throw, it's Nolan. Pressure coming. Just too much heat that time, and they knock him down at the 31.
I think the offensive coordinator is going to have a little talk with the head coach. He's going to be expecting answers after that play call. 3rd and inches, and you try to throw it against that pass rush? Not a great call.
Coverage team gets the job done, and they'll mark him down at the 38-yard line. Plenty of time to work, not any time to waste as they take over here in the final 2 minutes of the half. They're going to throw it to start the drive. Finds his man, it's Rich. You know, sometimes even a short game like that can be used to set up something bigger later on.
No doubt, Reese, they can pump that and take a shot down the field. And don't worry, they're going to go back to that same play because they know this guy with the ball in his hands is dangerous. He makes one guy miss, he can take it to the house.
And that seemed a little off from the start, didn't it?
That was a big-time play, and it was off from the start because of the play he made.
And I don't think it would have mattered who was playing running back. There was absolutely nowhere to go.
On 3rd and long, trying to have a big completion here. Got a man, it's Gibson. They've got it to the 49-yard line, and they'll move the chains. Wants to go up top on first down. Starting to feel a little pressure. Runs through a tackle. Bounced out of bounds at the 43-yard line.
And that's a pretty good job by this defense. Man, it's so hard to limit these quarterbacks, and they're spreading you out all over the field. When they take off, it's hard to limit the damage. Nice job limiting the damage. And I'll tell you what, make it physical. Finish those plays and try to tackle that guy and make him think about running the football in the future.
The RPO, it's complete. Brought down at the 31. It is a first down.
And as soon as the receiver caught the ball, you saw the quarterback start communicating to his teammates what the next play was going to be because they're now changing the tempo and going fast.
Here's the pressure. Intercepted. They were back in their own end, and they stopped the drive. He goes down after the short return, but what a play to get the football back.
Nice play by the DB. Most people say offenses have the advantage, right? They know where they're going. They have the footing underneath them. Defensive guys, you still got to guess. You might be a little bit more cautious. No, sir, this defensive back does a great job breaking on the football, going up and making the INT.
Rolling right and going deep. He's got it along the sideline. And the explosiveness, the big gainer, gets it to the 49-yard line.
I love offensive coordinators that take shots in sudden change situations. You just got the takeaway. You're not wasting any time. Defense is jogging on the field. They barely have time to line up. You take a shot deep down the field, and you hit it, adding insult to injury to the opponent. That is a great play call.
They stop him almost immediately. Short gain there, and still a little ground to cover to pick up the first. First half in the books. Time now to join Kevin Connors in our halftime update. Georgia will kick it deep to start the second half. On the run from inside his own 5. Nice job executing all of the assignments as they put a stop to that return at the 22. Okay, guys, the Florida State offense returns to the field. Tight game as we start the third quarter, and we'll see what type of adjustments they made at halftime.
And getting the ball first here, I think, is such a big deal. Like, I get the first chance to make a statement, to make the adjustments, to create some momentum for my squad right here in the third quarter.
Yeah, I think it's so important for this offense to set the tone here early in the second half, to get a nice drive going, build that confidence, and get your defense ready to come on out, get a stop, and change the complexity of this game.
And he never had a chance, just stopped cold as soon as he got it.
But how fast did they get in there and make that tackle for a loss? If you blinked, you missed it. Nice job by the defense, getting penetration, everybody up near the line of scrimmage, shooting the gaps quick, getting in the backfield, getting the guy on the ground.
Finds his tight end, and they'll stop him about 5 yards short of the first. The Noles will send out the punt unit.
They're able to find the tight end for an easy completion, but good job tackling, not allowing him to get the first down.
And the coverage team down there to touch the ball. No return on this play.
And we don't always talk about the third part of the football game, but offense, defense, special teams, this is a huge shot in the arm. Their offense has struggled all game long. You force the fumble, give them good field position. Maybe this is the spark they need.
There he goes. Good, solid, determined run there. They'll mark him down at the 27.
Definitely been tough sledding for this guy, especially in the first half. They gave him the ball a bunch, but they just don't have a ton of yards on the ground to show for it at this point. That looked like a pretty good run, though. You just wonder maybe in the second half, if they keep giving him the football, it may start paying some dividends.
Good, solid pickup on that one. They got it out to the 40, and it's first down.
This shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. If you've got the lead in the third quarter and you want to keep it, you got to bleed the clock. Best way to do that, run the football. And you're now seeing this offense call these run plays back to back. They are trying to be physical, and they're trying to stay on the field.
Now from the 40, it's 1st and 10. Back to pass, it's Nolan. That's reeled in, it's Davis. Taken out of bounds after a good pickup there. They're in striking distance at the 37.
And that's why this guy is such a weapon in this offense, because you don't have to throw it far downfield. Just get the ball in his hands. He catches it close to the line of scrimmage, but look what he was able to do after the catch. He gets an explosive play for this offense.
Georgia ready to dial it up on another first down. To the ground with the back. An explosive play in the running game as he's got the first down.
Man, coaches talked about they want to get this running back involved early and often and create some momentum, and this is a great way to do it. Early in this football game, ripping off an explosive run, get the juices going, and I bet you he's going to get a few more touches today.
Now on the move at the 28-yard line on first down. Brought down after keeping those powerful legs moving, getting all he could. He'll be a few inches short.
And that would be the definition of first down success, putting yourself in a good position. It's 2nd and inches. I can do whatever I want next. I can take a shot down the field. I can run the football and get a new set of downs. Like, nice first down execution.
And the Dogs come to the line. This situation, you might see a shot play. Leaves it with the back. He's wrestled to the ground right at the 15-yard line, and a big red zone opportunity here.
Well, they needed 2 yards for that first down. The running back doing just enough to make sure he keeps this drive alive.
And the Bulldogs, once backed up in the shadow of their own goalpost, have put quite a drive together. Back to throw, it's Nolan. Pocket breaking down. Finds his big tight end. That one takes it down to the 13-yard line.
Well, this left-handed quarterback, he drills throwing on the run to his right a lot in practice for situations just like that, and it paid off there.
Operating in the red zone here on second down. They'll ride the running back and leave it with him. And how about that play by that giant, that mountain of a man on the defensive front? Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. It'll be third and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Looking for the score. Right through his hands. He had a touchdown and just didn't look the ball in. It'll be fourth down.
Once you start to get down here towards the goal line, it's so much more difficult to throw the football, and you really want to stretch the defense sideline to sideline and use your speed and take advantage of the grass when you see it. They try to take a little bit of a shot down the field unsuccessfully. Nice job by this defense.
On 4th and 7, analytics, gut feel, or maybe just wanting to keep the offense out there. They'll go for it. Picked off inside the 20, and they snuff out the threat. He'll be stopped, but not before getting the football and picking up big yardage on the return. What a play there.
I'll tell you, you got to give the defense credit, though, because with these conditions, it's not easy to catch for the offensive players, certainly not for the defense, but great eye-hand coordination securing that interception.
And the defense had that one well covered, just a short game there.
I like the decision by the quarterback here. Just get the ball out of your hands, get it to your playmaker. A lot of times they'll dance and make even bigger plays than he did here, but it was still a positive game.
And the defense makes a play, and they get the quarterback down at the 26.
Well, this offense keeps giving up sacks, and they keep finding themselves in situations like this, third and long right now. They don't have many points in this game, and this is a big reason why. It's hard to score if you don't keep the third downs manageable. So moving forward, whether it's running the football on 1st and 2nd or throwing short passes earlier in the drives, they've got to change things up because taking sacks like this is killing this offense.
To the air, it's Berry. Their pass not close as he got drilled trying to deliver it, and it'll bring up fourth down.
Well, after struggling so much in the first half, you thought they would have made some adjustments here at halftime to see if they can open up this passing game. But early on in the second half, they're just not really able to get that done. Incompletion on third down in your own end, you're expecting them to punt.
Get this drive started from their own 26. The give to Davis. Stopped at the 42, but he got 15 yards on the play.
You know, as a defense, you can have the right call and the right guy in the right spot, but that guy's just too good. And how about the running back on that play? Just making it happen, breaking off the huge gain. It's tough to get these guys on the ground.
Might as well give it to him again. He's going to lose a yard on that one.
Well, this running back has had a pretty good day so far in this game, and I think the key right now is for the defense to find a way to slow him down. He had a good run 2 plays ago. The defense gets the TFL on this one. I think you got to change up your fronts defensively and try to give this offensive line different alignment looks to see if they can confuse him.
Stopped after a good pickup, and he'll be just a tad short of the first down.
And quarterback dropping back, understanding I'm getting zone coverage. All I got to do is be a little bit patient, manipulate that defense a little bit. My wide receiver runs that drag, and I get the first down.
The Dogs come to the line on third down, trying to keep this drive alive. He'll try to get it through the air. He's got him. All down, but they'll move the sticks as he picks up the first down. These two guys, just on the same wavelength, they make clutch connections all the time.
And that's practice, man. That's all summer. That's all spring. Just so many hundreds and thousands of balls where you know exactly when that guy's going to break. You know he's a stud. You're going to feed him, especially on these third down situations.
Down to the 26-yard line before they ride him out of bounds, and this defense is on its heels. So it's not just a strong running game. The Dogs can be dangerous with those weapons up top.
And I think when you've seen Georgia really dominate in college football over the last several years, it's because they've been more aggressive, more willing to throw the football, early downs, trust their quarterback.
Turning it on! Got it into the red zone, dragged down at the 18-yard line. Talk about spreading the ball around. Everyone getting a chance to show off the hands based on the number of targets we've seen. Not only is the scoreboard on their side, but so too is time as we open the fourth. It'll be second down as we open the final stanza. Leaves it with the back. And maybe he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more than that.
Well, they're trying to run the football there, just nowhere to go. They got dominated up front at the point of attack.
The Bulldogs are at the line looking to convert on third and short. He'll try to pick it up on the ground. He gets it oh so close to the first down marker, but I think he's going to be a touch short.
And that's a nice stop by this defense. Nice job stopping the run, setting up fourth and inches. Listen, this is a no-brainer. If I can't get inches, I don't deserve to win. I'm coming downhill. I'm playing physical. I'm picking my play, whether it's quarterback sneak, fullback dive, whatever it is that we do great, and I'm going to get my inches.
Oh, he dropped it. Just didn't look it all the way in, and they'll turn it over on downs. And that decision will be questioned for a while. The Seminoles have it back. They'll try to get that offensive spear flaming. And points have been hard to come by in this one. They'll try to put together a drive. Hit hard as he released the ball on that first down pass, and it never had a chance. Let's take a second here to talk about Florida State. Unless there is a dramatic turn of events, this is not going to be a way to cool off that hot seat.
And they're going to have to be able to handle adversity and handle the outside noise moving forward, because losing this game in week one, all the detractors, all the naysayers, that noise is going to get louder. That hot seat is getting even hotter. And I think all eyes are going to be on this program now, David, seeing how they turn the page and move on from this.
And I give you Exhibit A. Jesse Palmer just turned up the hot seat. All eyes are on them. They got to win. They got to do this. Starting off on the wrong foot. This is exactly what happens. It becomes a distraction. We're going to find out how good of a coach he is, and we're going to find out how loyal these fans are really quickly in this season.
And they fail to hook up on third down.
Obviously, when you're playing in weather like this, the ball is very slippery and it's hard to catch. The QB threw a bullet that time, and his receiver just could not reel it in.
They kick it away on fourth down. And they'll mark it down at the 30.
That's a huge blow. Offensive possessions are already limited now with time running out in the fourth quarter, and you're losing. And to give the ball away and give one of those possessions away, it's not over yet. But man, did you make your job a lot harder.
And Georgia ready to go back to work on offense. They haven't really been able to light up this scoreboard, but putting points up would be huge here. Dragged down after a pickup of 5 out to the 35.
Man, it's so nice to have a guy that you can depend on. Like, this offense is built around him for a reason. Just a good running back. You can see, gets north-south, doesn't dance, picks up positive yards, breaks tackles. He's just a really good player, and that's why this offense runs through him.
And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play.
As an offense, you've got the lead, you've had success running the football. You hope that this play is just a blip because you know you're going to have to lean on your bell cow running back to ice this game and close it out.
And the Dogs line up trying to move the sticks on 3rd and short. Looking to throw, it's Nolan. Under fire. And he was hit just as he released it, and it falls to the turf.
I mean, sometimes you overthink it. Sometimes running the football on 3rd and short with the lead is not the worst thing in the world. Keep that clock ticking. But now decided to go for it, setting up a 4th down. And this looks like a situation where you should punt the football.
Fields the punt and looking for daylight. Tries to find a little more running room on that return, but he'll be stopped at the 36. All right, guys, here comes the Florida State offense onto the field. They didn't get much done the last time they had it. Had to punt it away from deep in their own territory, hoping this drive will be more productive. Find some fresh air. Really good effort on that one to work his way up to the 42.
And winning 1st downs is a priority for a defense, and you can't get bludgeoned. You can't get physically beat at the point of attack. You know the percentages. It's usually pretty good on 1st down that they're going to run the football. So them getting that big chunk, getting in 2nd and short, not a good job by this defense.
The Seminoles can really attack on this 2nd and short. The give to the tailback. Fighting off the defender. Stopped at the 47-yard line, a 10-yard gain, and they'll move the markers.
This offense has to get this guy the ball in as many ways as possible. He showed you all of his tools on that last play.
From the 47-yard line on 1st and 10. The give is to Williams. They pick up half of it. It'll be 2nd and 5.
Man, it's easy to call plays when you're getting 5 or 6 yards of pop on the ground. Like, why would I get complicated? Why would I get complex? Like, up front right now, this group just win, fall forward, get that good gain, stay ahead of the sticks, don't have to get in bad situations. This defense better respond, or else I'll do that all the way down the field.
Got it in the middle. It's Gibson. All down, but he has enough to move the chains.
Nice job by the receiver on the back end there, too. He sees his quarterback on the run moving, and he just works to get himself open to give his guy a place to throw the football. They're able to connect, and they keep the drive going.
Gets it inside the 30 down. A pickup of 6.
Coaches always harp about staying ahead of the chains, and when you can run with that type of efficiency on 1st down, man, you are doing just that.
The Seminoles in a good spot here with 2nd and short. Timeout called by the defense. It's their 1st of the half as they'll make some adjustments. And the Seminoles with a 2nd and short to keep this drive moving. Give to the back. They make the stop, give him 3 yards on the carry. Ball's at the 24.
And that run really didn't go anywhere. And a lot of times we don't focus on it enough, but how important those 5 guys are up front. To get on those defensive linemen, to try to move them out of the way, to get a run game going, it squarely falls on the shoulder of those 5 offensive linemen.
Got it behind the line. It's Williams. Oh, headed to the end zone. Touchdown, Florida State. And they've moved out front here in the 4th.
Yeah, and a nice job in the 4th quarter making plays, and a nice job being on the same page. QB, receiver. You could tell he broke with the football. He caught it in stride, gets into the end zone. Nice pitch and catch right there. Nice chemistry by the QB and wide receiver.
And let's check in with Kevin Connors in the studio. Kevin?
Gentlemen, that pivotal top 15 battle is in the books. Here's how things went down.
And the returner will be knocked down. We're ready to get another look at this Bulldog offense. Last drive was a quick 3-and-out, and now time is even more of a factor to get something going. Good call, good execution as they move the chains, and they have a first down at the 38. He had the perfect play to open the drive, and now they'll snap it again from the 38. Looking to throw, it's Nolan. Bringing the heat. He makes a catch. Major gaps in that defense, and he got loose, and they finally knock him down at the 41.
And they've trusted him to throw the football all game. I expect nothing to change whatsoever. They're going to put it on his back, or his arm, I guess you could say, and let him throw this team to victory. It's a close game, tight game. I'm rolling with my best player.
To the air on first down. Steps away to find some room. Finds his man. It's Wiley. He'll go out of bounds right at the 30-yard line. A big play as this offense in business.
What a great individual effort here in this 2-minute situation. He makes the catch in the middle of the field. He knows he's got to find a way to stop the clock. The only way to do that is to get out of bounds. He uses his speed and his vision, and he's able to elude the defense to save some time.
Fires to the middle. What a job to lay out and make the catch.
And they've trusted their QB to throw the football. And he's going to have to make plays. He's made plays throughout the day. This is now when you come up clutch in a big moment when your team needs it. If that's any indication, I like what I'm seeing.
They'll use the running game on first and goal. He pushes it forward all the way to the 2-yard line. Timeout called here by the defense. It's their first of the half. They've moved it forward to the 2. Now it's second and goal.
42 Spider. 4-2 Spider.
Tries again to get it in. He works his way ever closer all the way down to the 1-yard line. Referee signals timeout as the defense wanting to make sure that they have everything just right with a big play coming. A huge chance for points here on third and goal, and if they can get it in, we might have ourselves a finish. Pushes ahead. They'll stop him short on third down, and this defense trying to make sure they stay on top. The defense going to stop the clock with a timeout. They want to make sure they have everybody on the same page. And this could prove to be the biggest play of the game. They'll go for it on 4th and goal. Power ahead. Touchdown, Dogs! And they've got the lead in the final minute.
Man, this game has been incredible to watch, and the offense comes through late in the game, takes the lead. What a clutch drive by this offense. Now, I'm looking at you, defense. You got the lead late in the game. I need you to go put this thing on ice and win it for me.
And it's good, and he pushes the lead to 3. So it's an 80-yard drive. And the clutch late score that almost certainly will be the game winner. They're set to kick it off. You think this crowd's going to get loud when their defense comes on the field? Here he comes from inside his own 5. Not a lot of space to be found. Good hustle by the coverage team, and they stop him at the 21. They'd love to put a long drive together here as they start from their own 21. Dropping back, it's Sperry. Under fire. And he can't get it off. Taken down. What a huge play this late in the game. They'll go to work in the air on 2nd down. The quarterback can make a big play when he starts moving around. A deep throw as the clock winds down. Intercepted. Big play. Stops the drive. That's the way this defense wanted to wrap it up. Make a play themselves. Finish off the game, and the offense can kneel it out from here. Their work here is virtually done. No need to take any more chances. They'll line up in victory formation. You waited so long to start the season, and just the way you want to start, getting that first victory.
And the first games are so much fun. You've been practicing against each other over and over all through camp. Now you get to come out, start the season off 1-0, Jesse. Great start.
It was a great start for the winning team. Now, for the losing team, obviously not the way you want to get into this season. There were some mistakes with execution, and guys are going to have to do a better job individually. But that's why you play the games. You get to now go back to the drawing board, get back on the practice field, try and iron out these wrinkles. It's a long season ahead. A lot to play for.
Thanks so much for spending some time with us. For David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis, and this has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.